So I feel like if you were to ask a casual fan of Pokemon, or, a casual fan of Pokemon, they would say something along the lines of the series has been stagnating for quite some time and has been in need of a revamp to just its core design features. Now, Generation 7 did kind of do that quite a bit with the trials, and that was a fun deviation, but personally for me, even going back to Generation 8 with the regular badge collecting shenanigans, it was still a fun enough time, even if the story wasn't all that spectacular, so to speak. And I think that's sort of the bottom line here, It's a spark of uniqueness that we're craving, mixed in with a lot of stuff that we are familiar with. I think that's a lot of things that most people can probably agree on in regards to the series. And I think a popular comparison in that front is we're looking for an open world Pokemon game. I think that's something that we would all kind of like to see. And, well, with Pokemon Legends Arceus, we are taking a huge leap in that direction, even if it wasn't executed all that well in all fronts. So, Legends Arceus stars you as either Rei or Akari, technically not right away in the Hisui region. You are awoken by God Arceus itself, and have your oddly modern looking phone transformed into what will be known as an Arc phone, and are given the task to catch all Pokemon. You then wake up on a beach and are approached by Professor Laventon, and his Pokemon in the Hisui region proper, in a time long before humans and Pokemon cooperated with each other properly. He says you seemingly fell from a rift in the sky, which has been happening a lot recently, as a rift has formed over a mountain nearby. Shortly thereafter, the Pokemon that were with him then run off. The professor enlists your help to catch the 3 Pokemon, which you do with relative ease. Surprised by your skill and lack of fear from approaching Pokemon, I guess, he decides to sponsor you to join the Jubilife Village Survey Corps, led by the stout Cyrell and the flashy Komodo. Being inducted in, you then get to lead the charge in completing the first ever Hisuian Pokedex, all the while dealing with the conflicts between the Pearl and Diamond clans native to the Hisui region and the strange rifts forming over the region itself. The story is, well, for Pokemon standards, pretty above average, really. There's never really anything noteworthy when it comes to the general outcome of the plot itself. It actually reminds me a lot of how Gen 7 sort of played out, even though I think Lucamine was a bit more interesting. The strength of this game's setting comes in the references that each of these characters have as ancestors to future characters in the series. Damn near every person with some immediate impact or unique design in general, compared to basic NPCs, are a reference to someone in the past. Or just straight up are. Ingo, what are you doing here? Oh, great. Now we really need a Gen 5 remake to explain how he got here. Ugh. With how the plot progresses here, though, it leads me to a pretty important question. I mean, as a longtime fan of the series, I saw a lot what was going to happen from a mile away, or at the very least, the game played its plot twist hands a little too early, I felt. So I wonder if fresh new players would have been more surprised by some of the things that happened in the game's story. I don't know. As it stands, the callbacks were probably my favorite part. Can't say much more on the quality of the game though. There's very, very little in the way of music, mostly being ambient in nature. And the few times an actual tune plays, it just feels like a remix of a pre-existing song. No shit, I know I hear you all saying, but in all seriousness, these remixes feel inferior to the original or even Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl tunes, so it's just eh. And hot damn, I'll always champion the Switch for being a console about the games, even if it'll be inferior in the performance department compared to the juggernauts of the PlayStation 5 and the Series X. but I'm very indifferent to the performance quality of Legends Arceus. I'm glad they got the bad stuttering fixed from one of the earlier trailers, but the rest is really rough around the edges. Really bad pop-in of textures and even of whole objects. And up close, character models are all jagged and feel unfinished. Like everyone just needs to rub down on some sandpaper to get rid of the corners. And the environmental designs aren't all that impressive either. You travel between basic zones akin to like a recent Monster Hunter game, but the first 3 zones all feel extremely similar in design, being just color swaps of some grassy fields with some hills. And the final zone is also basically the same thing, just color swapped to look like ice. The cold nature doesn't really impact anything gameplay wise, so it's just the same as any other locale. But it is a video game first and foremost, and there's definitely a lot to that aspect. So starting out in Jubilife Village, you can run around and accept quests from the other villagers, buy items at the shop for use in the field, or dress up, or even do a bit of crafting with items you can collect out in the field. The game tries to imply early on that you're better off crafting all your supplies as it's more cost efficient and more rewarding, or some such baloney. And early on, that's definitely true, as your list of purchasable items is somewhat limited. But don't set that in your heart forever. Eventually money does start to become a non-issue later on, so don't think crafting is the only way to go. So when you go to explore, you can choose between different zones to check out. Your main goal as a survey member is to go around and study Pokemon enough to complete the Pokedex. And unlike other games where this is X amount of years in the past, long before it was regular to have Pokemon as partners, just catching the monster once isn't enough to complete their entry. As you approach a monster, you can lock onto them and press down to view their Pokedex tasks. Doing these will award you with a score towards their entry, and getting 10 points will count it as complete and will then have a written entry put in. Now these tasks aren't anything that extravagant. You don't get to watch Pokemon interact in some interesting ways. There's no turf wars with warring Pokemon or seeing them interact with you in some sort of manner. Pokemon are either scared of you, running away when you're spotted, hostile when spotting you, or just straight up passive. That's kind of it. But it is nice that there's a Pokemon game that its primary focus heavily revolves around the secondary tagline of "Gotta catch 'em all." Let's Go kinda had it too, but Arceus just feels better. As you enter a zone, you can run around and approach Pokemon in the overworld. You can chuck a ball at any non-hostile Pokemon as you run along, and it doesn't require any transition to do so. Just chuck a ball and move on. All mons have a probability to be caught as per usual, so to aid in that, you can try sneaking up on a Pokemon, crouching on your approach, or lurking in tall grass. To have a big boost in your chance to catch, you can also aim for a Pokemon's back for a back strike. Balls come in 3 types with varying strength. You've got your basic Pokeball, Great Ball, and Ultra Ball line that have a normal throwing arc. If you're close enough to lock on to the Pokemon, the throw will usually reach no sweat. There's the heavy balls that have a stupid short range and just kind of flop on the ground like a jackass. But if you can backstrike a Pokemon with these, they have a massively boosted rate to catch. And finally are the wing balls that basically yeet themselves in a straight line in the direction you're looking, only dropping off near like the FPS drop off line. Now if a Pokemon does break out of a catch attempt, if it's with a backstrike and you're hiding, the Pokemon will be on guard for a short time before resetting. However, if not, then the Pokemon might try to flee from you, disappearing entirely after a short time, or if it's hostile, it will go to attack you. At this point, if you want to catch the Pokemon, your only real option is to chuck out one of your Pokemon to fight it out. Battles are fairly dumbed down compared to the rest of the series. No held items, no abilities, but those things definitely aren't needed in this case, because Pokemon Legends Arceus has some of the absolute biggest damage thresholds in the entire series. Like, seriously. Completely ignoring the fact that some Pokemon battles could have more than one Pokemon ganging up on you at once, I could be fighting against a Pokemon that's like 20 levels lower, and it'll still take like a third of my Pokemon's health off with just a neutral attack. Even with tanky Pokemon, very rarely are their tanky stats even worth a damn, making this game heavily favor speedy glass cannons for the most part. Emphasis on speed, because speed plays a big factor in this game's turn order. Regular Pokemon game speed is simply just you pick a move and your opponent picks a move, and whoever has the highest speed does their attack first before the other. Legends play out more like something from Final Fantasy X or Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Each action is done on a character-to-character basis, following a turn order on the top right based on speed. Short battles against regular Pokemon, you aren't really going to notice it that much, but in prolonged fights against some trainers you'll come across, or even against some of the larger alpha Pokemon, a Pokemon's speed advantage might eventually cause it to eventually perform 2 actions in a row. This can also be further augmented by moves like Quick Attack, which when used will raise an action speed in general. You might not notice the change immediately, but using it consistently, it'll eventually build up. You don't just need priority moves like Quick Attack though to change the move order. As your Pokemon level up, they'll eventually master some of their moves, and with mastered moves, you'll be able to apply styles to them, either Swift or Strong. Swift lowers the power of a move but raises your speed, and the Strong, reverse. This further compounds with a Pokemon's speed anyways, so who knows, using Swift style Quick Attack, you could even get like 3 moves in one go. Oh, right, Strong. Yeah, I literally never used Strong style even once during my whole playthrough. Why would you risk not one-hit KOing a Pokemon with a Strong style and then having your opponent just go to town on you? Nuh-uh. And learning and using most moves got a tweak because of the new turn system. Many Pokemon's traditional move pools have been heavily reduced, basically by half, mostly cutting out moves like Leer and Tail Whip. There are a few like it, like Nasty Plot, I saw that a few times, but they behave a little different. Instead of raising or lowering physical or special attributes, depending on the move used, it just affects attack or defenses in general, kind of akin to Shin Megami Tensei or Persona. Status moves also got tweaked a little. Stuff like Paralyze, Burn, or Poison remains largely the same, save for Pokemon just being able to break out of them by themselves. But Sleep and Freeze are replaced with Drowsy and Frostbite respectively. Frostbite acting like a special attack version of Burn, and Drowsy acting like Paralyze, but causing Pokemon to take more damage instead of lowering their speed. Honestly, I can see the application of statuses like these in the main series and would love to see them return. Pokemon learn the moves and master them by level ups as previously said, but that's not the only way to learn new moves, nor are they gone for good if you apply them. Back in Jubilife, you can go to Flint's ancestor, and she basically acts as a move tutor of sorts, teaching a wider variety of moves for a Pokemon to learn, and also teaching them to master it, being able to apply Swift style to any of them. And when you do, you can go to the main menu to swap out any move your Pokemon has learned ever with any other. This feature is so good, but it's also vital since some Pokedex tasks require specific moves to be seen performed. So being able to reallocate moves is pretty vital to fulfilling the dex. Other ways to help with that comes with some extra features in the overworld. You can come across special space-time distortions that envelop a wide area. Inside these, you'll be able to find shards or most evolutionary items in here, alongside special Pokemon spawns not normally found elsewhere. They can also spawn like 3 Pokemon at once to ambush you in case you just really want to get your ship pushed in. The other thing is alpha Pokemon, those scary red-eyed mons that will always aggro to you if they spot you. They have beefier stats compared to their fellow counterparts, and come pre-equipped with some special moves not normally known to them. They also have like 3 stats automatically set with 3 EVs. Pokemon still have personality traits that affect stat growth, but EVs sort of behave differently than usual. Rather than some semi-invisible accumulation of numbers to grow on the side, you can apply special grid items to grow a Pokemon's EV up to a max of 10 stages, requiring rarer forms of the items at certain intervals. Essentially, they act like the proteins or irons of yesteryears. Now, I did say that your only option when a Pokemon aggroes you is to basically throw them on it, but that's not wholly true. You can collect a large variety of items as you travel around the zones, some of which can be used to tame some Pokemon in different ways. So if you didn't feel like fighting the Pokemon, you could be like the trailer and start hucking balls of mud or rotten apricots to stun the aggressing Pokemon, allowing you to try and throw a ball at it again. It's just way faster and easier to just chuck a Pokemon and fight away. Hell, if you didn't want to fight it and just want to escape, there's nothing stopping you from just jogging away. If the Pokemon's sticking to you like glue, you can still huck one of your Pokemon at it, but while the Pokemon are stuck in the battle animation, you're free to still run around, so eventually you could just leave the battle zone entirely and then everything's all fine and dandy. It's kind of a dick move, but there's no penalty for doing so, so whatever. Hell, that's ignoring just straight up using ride Pokemon to run away anyways. You can summon the aid of special Pokemon to ride on that can do some small different features. Weirdeer can run quick, Ursaluna is the item finder, Sneasler is rock climb, Basculegion is your means of moving in the water, and Braviary in the air. Want to make the fastest getaway? Literally hop on Braviary and just fly away. But can I just say real fast, on top of some iffy quality in the presentation department, the controls really needed some tweaking, or at least the ability to customize your control scheme. I hate that it's push and release the trigger to throw an item, and you have to press B while in mid-throw to cancel it. It's just not that intuitive, and I would just rather press B to throw and release the trigger to not throw. But it's worse with the ride Pokemon. Dashing, jumping, controlling the camera are all done with the right side of the controller, Y, B, and the right stick. And you can't just control the camera and do all that stuff at the same time, not even with the Monster Hunter Claw at work. There's these special race course things you can do to earn some prizes, and the demand to do everything at once really exacerbates my hate for the controls. Also, it's really dumb that you can't control Braviary's altitude. When you use it on the ground, Braviary flies up a set amount, and then from there, it's just constantly descending slowly at all times, and it's super dumb. That aside, the final big thing to note are noble Pokemon encounters. As you progress through the story, you aid the Diamond and Pearl clans in taming their lords that have been causing havoc after being struck by mysterious light. You do so by calming them with special bombs made from their favorite foods. You enter into an arena and are then set off to start chucking, dodging attacks from them as you go along. After certain mechanics, the noble will eventually get tired, allowing you to throw one of your mons to do battle with it. Depleting the bar will cause the noble to be stunned for a short time, and the bombs thrown will have its efficiency increased during the time. On paper, these are pretty interesting, and it's really fun to dodge roll through certain attacks since you have a lot of iframes when dodging, and sending out your mons to do battle with them sounds epic. But damage ratios rear their ugly heads here as nobles have an extremely varied move pool to cover their weaknesses, and have no shame in using styles to their advantage, completely burning through most of your team in one battle session. I nearly lost my first noble fight against Cleavor because I tried to do what the game wanted. So after that, I didn't do what the game wanted and had way more success. Literally never engaging the noble with your Pokemon and just hucking bombs the whole time is probably the easiest and safest way of dealing with the fights. At least the story-based ones, and was how I handled the rest of the fights thereafter. And that's basically it. Legends Arceus is interesting on many fronts, but in terms of an actual replacement of what the series is typically known for, I don't think this should be the absolute basis for what the rest of the series should go on. There's still lots of stuff in the main series that I prefer way more over this, especially in terms of the combat itself. No abilities, no held items, just basic things that really I don't think should have been a problem to have in this kind of game. The only excuse being that it's so early into the universe, I guess they wouldn't know about abilities in a way, I suppose. I don't know. It's weird. but I do prefer regular combat more. If they are going to keep going with this style, they've got to let you have more Pokemon on your side, not just the other side, because then the turn order is just there for show for the most part. But the open world aspect is very interesting. I can definitely get down with how it is done in this game going forward into any other Pokemon game. It would just be nice if they can smooth out the rough edges and actually make it look presentable in a way. I don't know if it would look better on the Switch Pro, but I know that in this, it's not very good. But all that pettiness aside, it's not a bad game, and it's definitely, I found to be much more interesting than Brilliant Diamond, mostly because Brilliant Diamond didn't really bring anything new to the table. It just kind of replayed the classics then to just hope that we would all just melt with nostalgia, and I didn't, at least. I don't know about anyone else. But Legends Arceus, I feel like I keep saying this a lot with some of the stuff that Pokemon comes out, but if they can build off of this, I think there's a good game that can definitely be made. But as it stands on its own, it just feels more like a proof of concept, you know? But a proof of concept as it is, it's still pretty good. But anywho, thank you all so much for watching. If you like what you saw, you can click right up there to check out some of my other videos that I've done, or if you really feel like it, you can click right up there to subscribe. I'll also leave my Twitter down below. I know I didn't say it the last few videos, but I'll say it this time for sure. I'll leave my Twitter link down below, so that way you can check me out over there. I don't post a whole lot, but I usually do sometimes, and especially with updates and whatever. I'll also leave my Twitch down below as well. I've been trying to kind of keep consistent with weekend streams of just playing games, so if you ever want to just chill out and hang out with someone and chit chat, then come hang out with me there. I'll be there. So thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, I will see you all later.